Quapaw Nation Business Committee regular meeting for Saturday, May 17th, 2025 will now come to order at 9 a.m. Member Davis, would you please lead us in the invocation?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Entente Wakanda, Father God in heaven, creator of all things. Father, we just come before you at this time. Father, we so humbly thank you for this opportunity to gather and to be in your presence. Father, that you will lead, guide, and direct us through this meeting, that we can stand on your words and stand through your promises. Father, that we hold faith strongly, Father. Father, that you be with the families that are in mourning. Father God, that you would bring comfort to them. Father God, that you would lift the families right now that are facing difficult situations with loved ones. Father, that again, you'll provide each and every one of us, and them especially, with peace that surpasses all understanding. Father, that you could forgive us for being weak, Father God, and just pitiful people, Father. But we know we gain our strength through you and comfort. Father God, that you hold us in the palm of your hands. As we leave this and meeting, Father, today and adjourn, Father, that you could return us home safely at the appointed time and that we find our homes better than what we left them. We give you all the praise and glory. Again, lead, guide, and direct us. Forgive us where we fail thee. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Member Davis. Secretary Treasurer Value, would you please take roll call and declare quorum?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair Supernall.
Present.
Vice Chair McKibben.
Present.
Secretary Treasurer Valier, present. Member Mercer. Member Davis.
Present.
Member Buffalo.
Present.
Member Gibbs-Water.
Present.
Madam Chair, I declare quorum.
Thank you. Would you please call for the orders of the day?
Madam Chair, I call for the orders of the day.
Thank you. Business Committee, are there any corrections to the documents listed as part of the consent agenda? The consent agenda includes the April 19th, 2025 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as submitted. Hearing no objections, we'll go ahead and proceed to the vote. All those in favor of adopting and approving the April 19th, 2025 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as distributed, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion is adopted. The April 19th, 2025 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports are adopted as distributed. We'll go on to the Business Committee report. The following tribal member passed away since we last met. Gary Jimerson. Please lift this Quapaw family and all Quapaw families in your prayers, and let us join in a moment of silence. Gunagay. We do have some announcements today. Member Mercer, would you please provide a Ray Property Home O-Guah-Pah Tikida project update?
Yes, Madam Chair. As of today, houses 1 through 14 are completed and ready to be occupied, waiting for them to get utilities over on some of the homes. Once they accomplish that, they will do walkthroughs and receive keys to those houses. So if you are interested, make sure you're on the list, check with housing because they are okay to rent out houses 1 through 14. 15 through 16, we're waiting on installation of the cabinets. 17 through 19 is rough end stage for heating, air, electrical, and plumbing. 21, 22 are standing. Shingles are on the roof. Windows and doors just came in this week for the remainder of the houses, so next week they'll be setting the windows, doors, and then we'll be ready for people to come in and start doing siding. 23 is set. 23, 24 now are waiting on shingles. They've set them. Number 25, when I drove coming over, they're out there. They have the exterior walls setting on that foundation. So we have one more foundation that is ready for a home. another one ready to pour, and then we have 4 more we need footings and floors poured on that. And probably sometime next week, hopefully they'll start digging footings on those and getting them ready. They like to wait and pour 3 floors at a time. It's more economical. So we lack about setting up another 5 or 6 homes, and then we'll have 30 of them standing and just be a matter of completing them. And here shortly, before summer's out, we hope to have all 30 homes finished.
That's a
News.
great progress report. Thank you. Vice Chair McKibben, would you please give an update on the night U.S. Capitol tour led by Congressman Bruce Westerman and your recent conversation with Ottawa County Commissioner Mike Furness?
Recently, Chair Supernaw and I went to Washington, and the first evening we were there, we were privileged enough to get scheduled an evening tour of the Capitol. And the first time I'd ever been there, only the second time I've ever been to Washington, D.C., and it's an amazing, seeing it on TV and seeing pictures does not quite let your mind, doesn't do it justice. Inside the rotunda, just amazing artwork, there's amazing sculptures. Bruce Westerman, the gentleman from Arkansas, from the District 4 Arkansas House of Representatives, gave us that tour, and he makes it so informative because he's a history buff and pretty amazing. And inside the rotunda, very interesting tidbit, the surface area of the inside of that rotunda is actually bigger than a basketball court. It does not look that big, but when you're looking at it, it's just very deceptive. And then I also visited with Mike Furness this week. He and I had been playing phone tag and email tag for a few weeks, and finally we got to speak with each other this week. The surfacing project that they did from the daycare to the first mile section east, just past our new housing, the O-Guah-Pah ticket. That first section, they are very pleased with that surfacing to prolong the life of the road. And they are going to proceed sometime in the coming weeks to do from that mile section to the bridge out here, Promenade. And so they're trying to get this done before powwow, and that's their plan to do it sometime in the month of June. And then as well as striping, they are not going to stripe as immediately as they did on the last surfacing project because of the cure time. They were unaware and scheduled the painting to be too soon. That needs a 10-day cure, I was told by Mr. Furness. So they're going to let that cure for 10 days, then come back and stripe it. So it's hopefully easier to see stay in your lane, so to speak. So also visited with him. I've been back and forth with the states. And I was wanting to do this before the weeds got too tall. The weeds are coming on rapidly, as we know, in the grass. Was wanting to pick up the trash between the daycare and the grounds here, actually all the way to the bridge as well, Promenade, and had been back and forth between emails and conversations with the state. Well, turns out it's a county road, so the state's not really gonna, I wish they would have told us that from the get-go. But anyway, was in the wintertime, driving, you can see the trash everywhere. The grass is getting higher now, and you can't quite see it as well, but it's still there. So one of my pet things I like to do is every time I go to the river, I pick up a couple pieces of trash and try to take it home with me. So I want to pick up our reservation and try to make Promenade pretty again, so to speak. So I want to, if anybody wants to join in, I want to do it before they mow, because if we mow, the one piece is going to be 100 or 1,000 pieces. So I want to do that before we mow. I'll provide deep woods off. Anybody wants to do it, I'm going to go buy some grabbers. We'll get the reflective vests to make it where you're seen more. And the marshals, Charles also said that he'll provide some coverage to let people know we're there. And then Mike Furness also said he'd be glad to provide signage. I guess that says litter crew ahead or something like that. So that's something I'd like to get done before powwow, and that start doing it maybe quarterly or biannually. We'll just have to see how this first one goes. And if anybody is having mobility issues, I will provide my side-by-side, my little buggy, and I know the grounds here has one too, so we'll provide grabbers and a couple side-by-sides if you would like to participate. Don't let your mobility be an issue. You can cruise along in one of these side-by-sides with a grabber and pick stuff up. So And again, I'll provide deep woods off or tick repellent, whatever you want, so, and water and refreshments, so. Thank you, guys.
I'm in.
We're all in. Thank you. Member Buffalo, would you please provide an update on our latest negotiations with the state of Oklahoma regarding our tobacco compact?
Yes, Madam Chair. First, I'd say what negotiations, because that's what we come down to. The Quapaws, as well as other nations across the state, are having difficulty negotiating a tobacco compact. And several of those tribes decided to go the legislative side to try to get a model compact, namely the Muskogee Creek, Seminole, the Osage, and the Quapaw nations. The House drafted a bill, a model compact for the nations across Oklahoma. And the House and the Senate both committed to supporting those bills in time to override a veto by the governor if that happens. That bill was presented to the legal counsel of the governor. They amended it to how they wanted it to say, and those four nations agreed to those changes. They were minor changes, like the governor doesn't like the word reservation. So he wanted, or refer to it as the area of where the tribes have jurisdictions. What's the difference? That's minor. And they indicated that with those changes they'd sign it. And so just a couple of days ago, the day before yesterday, the governor announced he would veto his own bill. But I believe the tribes have decided to go ahead and let the House and the Senate present those bills. And they have got it timed out. As you know, the legislative session ends the end of May. The House is going to present it. I'm not really confident in the Senate right now because the Senate has a lot of governor's friends in it. And see where it goes. If the governor vetoes his own bill, he's a little weird. You know, just a few weeks ago, probably 2 weeks, he vetoed the MMI bill. That's missing and murdered indigenous people. So, all I can say is that we're right back where we were. No good faith negotiations when we let the governor rewrite that bill to how he wanted it. Now he says he's going to veto it. So we'll just have to wait and see. They're going to present him the House this week, and a couple of days later the Senate. First has to go to committee. But it's hard to negotiate someone in good faith when they don't have good faith. They're going to veto their own bill. So we're still without a tobacco compact.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Member Gibbswater, would you please give an update on the Powwow Grounds improvements and the Oklahoma City MMIP event?
Yeah, sure will. Just to touch on the Oklahoma City MMIP event first, he might have vetoed it because he waited till the very end of the day to do that, and it might be because we was down there singing around on his doorsteps, looking at him through the windows. It was a good day. My mother and my aunt got together and wanted to start a chapter here for the Quapaws for the MMIP, and they, in conjunction with Amanda Pawnee, which is a tribal member, she's also the Cheyenne Arapaho MMIP, one of their board members too, and she helped coordinate all that they needed to do and get it going. Amanda reached out through my mom and my aunt to get a hold of some singers to go down, and we were having a peyote meeting that same weekend, and I worked fire in there, so I did the best I could to pass it off to my brother Sean, because he's older than I am, and it's just how it is. So I passed it off to him, and he asked a couple of us to go down with him, and we were able to go down and sing and pray along with the MMIP Oklahoma City event, and all the different chapters come together, the CNAs, Quapaws, Kiowas. There's a lot of different chapters there. It was a good turnout. They were able to share their stories, share some history on how everything came to be, and it was just a good event. And And even though at the end of the day it was kind of a sad ordeal with the governor vetoing the bill, this is just how it is with Mr. Stitt. So, but anyways, that's the update on the MMIP Oklahoma City event. We did that on May 5th, which it was a real good day. Myself, Member Davis, Sean, Chayton, Damian, Black Fox, Billy, or different ones. You know, we all were able to go down. My mom and my aunt. You know, it was a real good day. On the grounds, we contracted with Native Strategies some months ago to come down here and complete civil and construction plan designs to start to try to fix the creek, to fix the erosion, to add land back, to landscape it properly, to keep it from eroding out for future generations. You know, for all of us who are down there on the creek line, it's not so fun. You know, it can be very dangerous, and we all have a lot of small children too, and it's kind of just a bad ordeal, you know, and snake pits all over the place from water mocks, and it's not a good thing. So that was one of the things I really set out to do, was try to fix our main place of culture that we come down to for almost everything that we do. But Native Strategies has completed all the site visits required for design finish. Jerry and John met with the consultant, the landscape architect, a few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks back now. And the drawings are almost done, and they're working through the Q&A process. The landscape scope is at 100%, civil is at 99%, hydraulic and structural scopes are both at 95%, and they've indicated that they'll have sealed drawings by the end of this month. And after we have those drawings, we can review them and go through them as a business committee with that contracted company and the facilities department. So we're almost there. We're almost there to start on the pre-construction side of things. I kind of told them to hold off, though. I didn't want to do anything before powwow hit, and I don't want to get in the same jam like we did last year trying to make it happen on a dime, because that just kind of got messy. It was real messy, and we had a lot of turnover, and things happened kind of in a bad way with that last general contractor, so we had to shift and make it happen. It wasn't a very fun thing. But anyways, we're almost there with the creek project. As far as all the site plans, site designs go, we'll start moving into review and pre-construction documents. Longhouse is projected to be done next week, although it may follow into the week after. They still have a few punch list items to go through and check up on and clear up. So here within the next few weeks, Longhouse will be completed well before powwow, and we'll be able to fire that place back up and utilize it again. But that's all I have, you know. And if you drive down through here, you can see all the work that Johnny and the facilities, all the grounds guys that they're doing, slicking it off, trying to get it ready to go for everybody, the seeding. And just tell you guys, if you guys have any questions or concerns about your camps or your families or however it is, feel free to reach out to the grounds committee. Chayton Ellick, he's the chairman, or you can reach out to myself and let me know what's going on with your own camps. So just trying to do the best I can to cover this out here. Anyways, that's all I have. That's
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate that. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please provide an update on the potential Argo bioprocessing plant?
Madam Chair. This week, we received notification from the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality stating that they had taken final action on the Argo Development Partners Oklahoma Bioprocessing Plant. ODEQ has approved their construction permit. Argo Development Partners are still working with Quapaw Nation on an agreement that will require them to go through a permit process with the Quapaw Nation. This permit process will require Argo to submit an application with plans and narrative description of the facility. The Quapaw Nation will review the application and issue a public notice to solicit comments, which will include holding a public hearing. Community members living within the Quapaw Reservation will have an opportunity to make comments, ask questions, and express concerns during the public hearing. The Quapaw Nation will develop an internal report reviewing the facility's impacts to the nation's resources and interests, including, but not limited to, natural and cultural resources, public health, water availability, utilities, and emergency response capacity in the form of an impact report. The data submitted by Argo in the application Public comments and the impact of report, along with any additional comments and responses from Argo, will be reviewed and analyzed by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. The Business Committee will make the final determination on whether to approve the application through a contract zoning district, and any approval will be memorialized in a BC resolution. Argo will agree to comply with all approval conditions provided for in the nation's contract zoning district, as well as all applicable federal, state, and local laws, regulations, and rules. Argo has been cooperative with the Quapaw Nation thus far in drafting the agreement, which lays out the permitting process. The agreement will be executed on the date that both parties sign the agreement. This agreement will be memorialized in a BC resolution. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee will continue to provide updates on the progress and agreements and permitting process with Argo Development Partners, Oklahoma Bioprocessing Plant.
Would you also talk about the Women in Tribal Gaming Conference that you spoke at earlier this week?
Certainly, Madam Chair. This week I was invited to attend and speak on a panel at the Women in Tribal Gaming Symposium. The panel discussed the importance of courage, advocacy, and preservation in tribal leadership. I felt very humbled and honored to be asked to be a part of the panelist discussion. There were several inspirational speakers there, and I gleaned a lot of information and things for me to move forward with as a leader for the Quapaw Nation. I felt encouraged that most of Indian country and the Quapaw Nation's Business Committee working philosophies seemed to be in alignment. It was very surprising to me that a lot of things that were said during that during the symposium with several of the other speakers is that things that we have discussed here. We talked a lot about moving 7 generations ahead and always thinking 7 generations ahead and building foundations, not just for our tribal people, but for Indian country as a whole. It was very inspiring, and I was extremely humbled to have been honored to be a part of that.
Thank you. Would you also announce the subcommittee appointments for the Culture Committee vacancy and appointments for the Cybersecurity Planning Committee?
Absolutely, Madam Chair. The Culture Committee vacancy, we have chosen to appoint Bladen Stand to that vacancy. So Bladen Stand, thank you very much for being committed to helping the Quapaw Nation in the subcommittee work for the culture. The following are being appointed to the Cybersecurity Planning Committee: Michael White Crow, Tyler Webb, Dennis Down, Stephen DeSchmuke, and Randy Jackson. We'd like to thank you all for your efforts, your commitment and efforts to keep the Quapaw Nation safe in the cyber world. Ganagay.
Thank you. Member Davis, would you please give us an
Madam
update?
Chair.
Pardon me?
I would concur with those appointments.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Does everybody concur?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you give an update on the FAM Real Lives Cancer Stories of Indigenous People documentary?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And if I could kindly ask, if we could just back up for a moment, I would like to list some statistics related to MMIP, and if you guys would kindly let me share that. And I also just want to reiterate it was a hard day, and it was a hard week. The gentleman sang not only Monday at the Capitol on the lawn, and Tuesday for the Nations event, and then Friday for the MODOK event at the Rotary Centennial Park in Miami. I would like to share these statistics just for the fact that if we don't advocate for ourselves, we already are aware of what Governor Stitt did. And some of you in this room have probably heard of the Gabby Petito case. That gained national media coverage. When was the last time anyone in this room witnessed or watched any national coverage of an Indigenous person? I can't say that I have. I've witnessed and watched local news. They just recently recovered the body of Aubrey Damron, and I'm thankful for that. And I hope that that brings closure for that family. But I'll move into the statistics. More than 4 out of 5 American Indian Alaska Native adults have experienced some form of violence in their lifetime. Native women are murdered at a rate 10 times higher than all other ethnicities. In 2016, there were 5,712 known incidents of missing and murdered American Indian and Alaska Native women. Only 116 cases were logged into the DOJ database. American Indian Alaska Native people make up 1.1% of the U.S. population, but 3.5% of missing persons cases. For persons 1 to 19 years of age, on average, homicide was the 3rd leading cause of death for American Indian Alaska Native people. And I want to thank the girls for starting that chapter. I know that that's a lot, but it means a lot to me. So Gunna Gay for that. And I'll move on now to the Real Lives Cancer Stories of Indigenous People. On May 8th, Mans, Joey, and I attended the Real Lives Cancer Stories of Indigenous People held at the First Americans Museum in Oklahoma City. A reception was held along with a welcome and an award presentation, followed by a documentary of Indigenous individuals, families, and communities casting light on the impacts of cancer. Concluding the evening, a panel discussion was held. The film revealed the unrelenting disparities related to the increased mortality rates among the indigenous population and the barriers associated with access to care. Even though there are significant disparities, the documentary proclaimed the strength, resiliency, and cultural practices that define the indigenous communities. That's us. The film raises awareness, influences action, and hopes to overcome challenges and create changes which will make a difference in individuals, families, and Native communities. In closing, it was a good event, and we were thankful that we had the opportunity to attend. The American Cancer Society recognizes the role Native people play in preserving their respective culture and traditions while building a future where everyone can possibly have a chance at surviving cancer. Gunna Gay.
Thank you, Member Davis. I'm just going to pick up on a couple of other topics. Nothing new to report in terms of the Department of Government Efficiency. No new impacts, but we continue to actively monitor that. We announced 2 months ago the meat processing plant management agreement with Cypress Valley Meat Company will cease on July 1st, 2025. The transition continues to go smoothly. During new business today, the mutual termination agreement will be considered by the Business Committee. So we continue to track against plan quite well. As Vice Chair McKibben mentioned earlier, he and I traveled to Washington, D.C. the last week of April. In addition to meeting with Congressman Tim Walberg, Congressman Jeff Hurd, and Senator Mark Wayne Mullins, Chief of Staff, I had the opportunity to testify before the House Natural Resources Committee regarding H.R. 1451, Quapaw Tribal Settlement Act of 2025. This is commonly referenced as the Bear Settlement. They were asked for their support of the bill on behalf of the Quapaw Nation and the impacted landowners. This was a critical and necessary step to reporting the bill out of committee. Excerpts of the testimony were posted on social media by O-Guah-Pah Communications. It was an honor to testify on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. The support of the Business Committee is incredibly helpful, and I'm very appreciative Vice Chair McKibben made that trip and was present for the hearing. We still have a long way to go. Getting the bill out of the House Committee, we got to do the same for the Senate Committee. Floor votes on both sides and signature by the President of the United States. We remain steadfast on forward progress. After the hearing, 4 questions were submitted to the Quapaw Nation from Chairman Bruce Westerman. I'd like to, in the spirit of full disclosure, I'd like to share what those questions are and the actual answers that were already submitted as a part of the official file. First question, H.R. 1451 would establish an account through the Bureau of Trust Funds Administration to pay settlement funds to your tribal members. A, how long has your tribe been fighting for this settlement? B, what would receiving this settlement mean for your tribe? Our tribe's been fighting for our health, our rights, and our land since the first Quapaw member was declared incompetent and the mines were placed on our land without proper consent. That was more than 100 years ago now. The Bear case and the settlement this legislation seeks to authorize is the work of generations of our community to receive justice from the United States, which failed in its obligations to our people. We've been fighting for this specific settlement since January 9th, 2020, when the U.S. Court of Federal Claims entered its final judgment that it would be fair, just, and equitable to pay claimants a total sum of $137.5 million. That settlement, though, was the product of nearly 20 years of litigation, including enactment of the congressional reference legislation by Congressman Tom Cole in 2012. Enactment of this legislation and settlement of this case would finally close one of the darkest chapters in the history of the Quapaw people. We could begin to heal from the damage to our land and provide real help to the people who were poisoned by the toxic mining waste that's still present all across our lands. 2, who are the other parties that would be impacted by H.R. 1451? A, have all parties involved come to an agreement regarding this resolution? The answer is parties to the Bear case include the individual landowners, allottees, and the tribe on behalf of nearly 4,500 citizens who descend from those impacted by the mines, the waste, and the resulting health impacts. The tribe has worked extensively and collaboratively with our counterpart parties to the case. Those individuals are citizens of our nation or descendants of Quapaw tribal citizens, and they have been represented by Mr. Terry Barker of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I believe that Mr. Barker has submitted a letter of support for this bill on behalf of his clients into the committee record for this hearing. Third question, why did Quapaw Nation initially seek the assistance of Congress regarding the payment of the respected settlement funds? The answer is, in January 2020 final settlement in the Bear case, the court issued the following finding of fact explaining our predicament. The Quapaw tribe filed suit on its own behalf on September 11th, 2012, in a case captioned Quapaw Tribe of Oklahoma versus United States. The tribe asserted breach of trust legal claims against the United States under the Tucker Act and the Indian Tucker Act. As in Good Eagle, the government moved to dismiss many of the tribe's claims on statute of limitations grounds. In an opinion reported at the Quapaw Tribe of Oklahoma v. U.S., the court dismissed several of the tribe's claims. The court held that the tribe's claim that the government breached its fiduciary duty by transferring the tribal lands known as the Catholic 40 to Catholic Church was untimely because the initial transfer, which triggered the statute of limitations, occurred in 1908. The court also held that the statute of limitations barred the tribe from seeking damages for the environmental contamination of its land caused by the government's alleged mismanagement of the tribe's natural resources. When the court denied justice to the Quapaw people, we looked to our representatives for help. We knew that perseverance, we would prevail because we knew our great nation would not turn its back on us. Anyone who walked onto our land could see it. The damage was just too obvious to ignore. Congressman Cole's legislation directed the U.S. Court of Federal Claims to report to the House of Representatives on the findings of fact and conclusions of law that are sufficient to inform the Congress of the nature, extent, and character of the Indian trust-related claims of the Quapaw Tribe of Oklahoma and its tribal members for compensation as legal or equitable claims against the United States, other than the legal claims that are pending in the Court of Federal Claims on the date of enactment of this resolution, and the amount, if any, legally or equitably due from the United States to the claimants. Once this legislation passed in 2012, we knew it was only a matter of time until the truth would become clear. The United States hurt our people and destroyed our land, and we deserved compensation for that damage. As you know, once Congress opened the door to a fair assessment of our case, the court did in fact acknowledge the damage and recommend Congress provide compensation for our losses. I know this was lengthy, but it's important that we keep everybody fully apprised of what's actually happening and the progress that's taking place. We've still got a long ways to go, but we're getting there. Going on, the nation held quite a few events this last month, and we've also got some upcoming ones as well. We announced this last month, it's storm season. If you want to get alerts on your phone based on weather alerts, please sign up or email it's at www.quapawnation.com/804/ to sign up. O-Guah-Pah Communications, they partnered with Howie and Bubba to produce 2 anti-violence project events and a video. They spoke to local tribes and organizations about how they're combating violence in their area. The Anti-Violence Project 2025 video has been streaming on TV in April and May, and the final 2 broadcasts will be on KODE 12 tonight, May 17th at 6 p.m. and May 25th at 10:30. The Quapaw Nation Juvenile Affairs Department held a youth clothing drive for April, and they collected over 600 items for the big summer blowout clothing drive. The Juvenile Affairs Department sends a huge thank you to all of you who donated to this great cause. The Education Department has scheduled a series of workshops titled Jobs and Careers 101, Build Your Future in 6 sessions, and the first 4 sessions were for resume building. The next 2 sessions are the Session 5 interviews, Part 2, May 21st, community building, so that's here. And then Session 6 is mock interviews and wrap-up, May 28th, community building. To register, please contact the Education Department at education.department@quapawnation.com. On Tuesday, May 6th, a support walk was held for missing and murdered Indigenous persons. Those in attendance were able to grab a t-shirt, yard signs, hats, and stickers to show their support. They also had a guest speaker, Lorraine Bible, who spoke about the recent passing of the Laria and Ashley's bill, that law, which in part would add accessory to the murder in the 1st or 2nd degree to the list of crimes that would require an offender to serve 85% of their prison sentence before being eligible for parole consideration. Tribal member Minnie Francis Hawk was also interviewed by the media and reminded the public of all the relatives that are still missing. This event was sponsored by the Quapaw Nation's Department of Public Safety and Family Services. Family Services is holding stomp dance classes. The next 2 are scheduled for tonight, the 17th, and tomorrow, the 18th. All ages, shell shakers, leaders, and families are welcome to be a part of this event here at the community building. We also held the annual memorial dinner. That was last Saturday on May 10th, and the nation wants to thank all of the cooks, the firekeepers, the youth, and the culture committee who helped this year's annual memorial dinner. You're all greatly appreciated, and it couldn't have been done without your help. On May 9th, the Quapaw Nation Education Department held a Krispy Kreme donut fundraiser at the Farmers Market to raise money for the Quapaw Nation STEM program. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. They bought and sold all 25 dozen donuts for the fundraiser and plan on holding several other fundraisers throughout the year. So that was a very successful donut sale. Northeastern Tribal Health System, they held a ribbon cutting ceremony on May the 9th for the new 42,000 square foot building, which houses the Healthy Living Program, rehab services, and a wellness center. The wellness center has a cardio room, a weight room, an indoor basketball court, and an indoor swimming pool. And the wellness center is free to all patients at the NTHS and any person who has a CDIB card or other people working for a tribal affiliated facility and veterans. The spouse of an eligible member is also able to become a member. Just announced this, the splash pad is officially open to the public. Their hours are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. So welcome summertime. Upcoming events, the Quapaw Nation Fitness Center is holding aerobic drumming and walking strong classes every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. throughout May. These gentle, low-impact, slow-motion exercises are perfect for both beginners and seasoned participants. Please call the Fitness Center for more information. The Quapaw Nation Indian Child Welfare Department is hosting a book drive through May 30th. The goal is to create a lending library for foster families. You can drop off new or gently used books at either Title VI building or Cahota Center, and your donations can make a lasting impact on a child's life and are greatly appreciated. A draft of the proposed Quapaw Nation Constitution is available online and will be arriving in the mail soon to all Quapaw tribal members, head of household. The next step is for the Quapaw Nation tribal members to review this draft constitution and bring questions and opinions to the 4th of July General Council meeting this year. For those of you who have children, just a reminder, the child care pre-registration form has been released for General Council. Please complete the form by June 21st, and additional details can be found online. The Bureau of Indian Affairs and the Bureau of Trust Funds Administration are hosting a free Indian Trust Landowner live virtual workshop on May 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. And this workshop is for all Indian Trust landowners. They'll be covering history, probate, realty, and individual Indian money accounts. To register, you can call area code 218-206-0265. The Quapaw Nation Language Department is hosting the Quapaw Lunch and Learn Spring 2025 language sessions. These free in-person classes are open to all skill levels and offer an opportunity to learn Quapaw together during the lunch hour. Sessions will be held at the Native American Church Summer House from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. 2 classes have already taken place, and 2 more are scheduled for May 23rd and 30th. Lunch is provided while supplies last, and no registration is required. The Quapaw Farmers Market and Food Hub has announced the 2025 Farmers Market event dates. The markets will be held on the 1st and 3rd Friday in May through October from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Everyone is encouraged to bring their tote bags and strike a bargain at the biweekly markets. Food Sovereignty Department and the Cattle Company have announced another food distribution for Quapaw tribal member head of households. Sign-ups started on May the 1st, and that closes out on May the 30th at 4 p.m. The distribution will consist of 20 pounds of ground beef this time, and the scheduled pickup dates are June 9th through the 14th. Quapaw Nation offices will be closed on Monday, May the 26th, in observance of Memorial Day. O-Guah-Pah Communications is asking all Quapaw tribal member students who graduated from high school, college, and trade schools between fall of 2024 and summer of 2025 who would like to be highlighted in the Quapaw Post to please send in their information to communications@ogahpahcommunications.com. They're requesting that you send a photo, name, school name, parents' names, and a sentence highlighting plans for after graduation. And the deadline for submission has been pushed back to May the 28th. The Higher Ed Department is holding 4 skills classes in June in the community building. There's skills 1, 2. There's also a flyer that's available out on social media as well as up on the tribal website. Compass Academy Network has partnered with the Quapaw Nation by expanding their free 4-week enrichment program for middle school students in the Quapaw Reservation. Includes both Quapaw and Commerce schools. The program will be hosted at Quapaw High School from June 2nd to June 27th, weekdays from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Compass Academy now has 8 locations across 3 states, operating exclusively in rural Midwest communities, which typically have limited summer enrichment opportunities for students. To qualify, students must have a GPA of a B or a 3.0 or better, and a recommendation from a current teacher or administrator. Space is limited, so for more information or fill out an application, visit www.compassacademynetwork.org. Again, that's www.compassacademynetwork.org. The youth program is hosting a Shield Pottery class on June 10th and 11th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Susie Moore Pottery Studio, and Betty Gadke is teaching the class. The class is open to 5th to 12th graders, and there's only 1 spot available. During this class, students will create their own pottery shield while exploring Quapaw art and culture through hands-on learning. To sign up, please contact Kristen Keys at 2886, and the class is sponsored by SAMHSA. On Saturday, June 14th, 2025, the Quapaw Nation's Higher Ed Department is hosting a graduation celebration banquet for students graduating between July 1, 2024 and June 30th, 2025. Those interested in attending must RSVP no later than May 31st, so that deadline is right around the corner. In order to register, you must email the Education Department, and additional details can be found online. The Constitution Committee is having an open meeting on Friday, June 20th at 6 p.m. in the Community Building. You can also attend the meeting via Zoom, and additional information can be found on the Nation's website on the calendar. Quapaw Nation Youth and CCDF programs have scheduled Camp Quapaw for June 23rd to 27th. The camp is for children 2nd grade to 12th grade, and they're looking for adults 18 and over who would enjoy interacting and teaching children about our culture. We'll have a volunteer application for you to fill out and a free t-shirt if you're selected. Please contact Kristen Keys, Youth Program Director, if you have any questions. And the deadline to sign up for Camp Quapaw is May 23rd. The annual health fair is July 2nd from 8 a.m. to noon in the fitness center. It'll be open to elders only, starting at 8 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock it becomes available to everyone. July 3rd from 9 to noon, the CCDF program is sponsoring a creation station, which is free for everyone. It'll be held at the Native American Church Summer House. They'll have snow cones, face painting, and crafts. The dates have been set for this year's 153rd Annual Quapaw Powwow. The scheduled dates are July 3rd through 6th. I think everybody knows by now, but just want to make sure everybody's got these dates handy. July the 3rd will be Quapaw Night. The 4th through the 6th are contests and intertribal dancing, and 5th being the night for fireworks. And then please refer to the flyer. The grounds committee decided to open the grounds for cleanup this weekend and the weekend after. So that's the weekend of this weekend, May 17th, and then the weekend of May 24th. In June, the grounds will be open the weekends of the 14th and 21st, so you've got time to get your camps ready. Cancer Awareness Committee is holding a Cancer Awareness Golf Scramble on September the 14th at Eagle Creek Golf Club. The cost is $300 per team, and the deadline to enter is August 14th. And the committee is also accepting donations for the scramble and silent auction. For more information, please contact Jackie Stone at jackie.stone@quapawnation.com. Children's Miracle Network at Freeman offers assistance programs that provide direct family assistance and service dog programs for children and families in need in Ottawa County. This can include specialty equipment, travel assistance, and other medically necessary items. You can take advantage of these programs and get the help you or your family needs today. Please visit freemanhealth.com for more information. The Child Care Development Fund is calling for more people to help contribute to the Regalia Closet. This program has a regalia closet to loan out regalia to children for them to dance. The goal is for children to feel what it's like to dance in regalia in hopes that it'll spark a yearning for participation and learning about our traditions and culture. Availability is on a first-come, first-served basis. Quapaw tribal members who specialize in making Quapaw regalia for boys and girls aged infant to 12 years old are encouraged to submit a bid to the CCDF department. If you want to stay up to date with all events happening in the nation, you can visit the tribal website or sign up for text, email, or phone call alerts through O-Guah-Pah Communications. To sign up, you can go to ogahpahcommunications.com/subscribe and sign up. Almost there, folks. Hang in. Quapaw Casino. So we've got their March results, so that was good. It was a solid month for Quapaw Casino. The month ending March 31st, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization totaled $668,000 with a margin of almost 31%, and that exceeded budget expectations by $250,000 and represents an increase of $140,000 from March. March 2025 was a historical month in that we received our first pay application from Flintco. They're the general contractor building the new casino. The total of that pay application was $1,359,000, and that was paid on April the 18th. Now, you guys know I hate to be spending money, but these pay applications are to fund really the remarkable construction progress that's taken place out there. For downstream, the final April results will not become available until Monday, so no update today on downstream. For Saracen, net gaming revenue in April finished as our 6th highest month. The impressive performance beat budget by 4.3% and prior year by 9.5%. Number one revenue source is slots with handle and revenue, and continue to experience increases when compared to the prior year. Considerable progress has been made on the development of the Hotel and Event Center, and from a budget perspective, the development is about 53.8% complete, with the majority of this funded by cash flow from operations. Utilization of the revolving line of credit to supplement cash flow has started with every effort to minimize the number and amounts of draws. Just as a reminder, all patrons must be at least 21 years of age. That's the case today for the gaming floor, and it will continue to be the rule for both the hotel as well as the event center. We'll know more about official opening here in the coming weeks. Regarding the Sissy's Log Cabin jewelry store lease as part of the emergency polls this month, although the lease requires basically no lease payments, the company is required to build out the space on their dime to the tune of about $750,000, and those improvements become our asset, an asset of the nation. They may have limited brand awareness to here in Oklahoma, but they are an iconic brand in the Arkansas market, providing Arkansas's First Ladies and Governor Sanders brooches for many decades. Sissy started in Pine Bluff, and they are synonymous with luxury in Arkansas. The Quapaw Nation, in cooperation with the Downstream Development Authority and Saracen Casino Resort, are announcing a new and exciting Saracen MBA program. The Saracen MBA program offers enrolled members of the Quapaw Nation the opportunity to pursue a Master of Business Administration at either the University of Arkansas at Little Rock or University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Selected participants will also gain work experience while completing their degrees. One candidate will be selected annually. The program duration is 2 years. Also includes paid employment as a manager in training at Saracen while enrolled in the MBA program. It covers full MBA tuition, books, housing costs, all of that is paid. It also includes a $60,000 annual salary plus full benefits. They'll also receive an offer of employment in a manager level position or above at Saracen upon graduation. Fully completed applications for the August 2025 semester must be submitted to Saracen HR Department by June the 13th. Again, that deadline is June the 13th. For more information, please contact Saracen Casino Resort HR Department, and that's Saracen MBA at saracenresort.com. Please note there are enrollment and eligibility requirements, so please look out for the flyer that'll come out next week. Launch your career with purpose and apply now and take your next step toward professional and personal growth. That concludes the Business Committee report. All right, let's go on to the subcommittee reports. First off, the O-Guah-Pah Wisdom Keepers. Grace, can we get a microphone over to Grace, please?
Yes, good morning. The Wisdom Keepers, and we are the elders, have met, and just to let you know that we are going to be planning the next trip. And so if you would like to help with the planning on that trip, please contact Brenda Murray, because we are going to have a trip this year. Also, we are looking at a new project, a recording project, which could be very important because the elders were going to be telling stories and ways of the O-gah-pah people. And so that is coming up. Just to mention, our next meeting will be June the 5th. And also, your elders we are aware of a lot of things going on. We do participate, and to also say that we do have, some of us do have time to do things, to be more involved. And so we're going to be contacting then the youth for the camp. We've always enjoyed being part of Camp Quapaw, and they've enjoyed having us as well. And then also, just to keep in mind too, that sometimes elders have some monies that we can contribute too. And we want to serve our people. That is what we do. So, Gunagay.
Thank you, Grace.
This is concerning the elders. This is Brenda Murray. On May the 5th, you had a resolution of buying 20 generators for the elder housing. I wish that had been submitted to our elders where some of us could have bought a generator at reduced prices. If that comes up again, could you notify us?
We're always looking for ways to save money, Brenda.
Yeah,
You bet.
but it would have been nice to have some elders that need them, but that don't live on the elder housing.
Thank you. Culture Committee, Barbara?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
After speaking with the chairwoman yesterday, it was mutual agreement that I change my open forum time to now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. First off, the cultural committee report. We want to say our appreciation again to everyone that participated in the memorial dinner. It was well received, and there were quite a few people there. Cooks, Linda and Rhonda and Debbie, and whoever helped them was, of course, wonderful food again, and everybody enjoyed it. Lots of visiting while we were there. Most of the business community was there, available to talk and visit, so we all appreciated that. Is it not on? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. In our meeting yesterday, we talked about the music that we've been working on, a music project, so that the tribe can share some of the music and the songs of the Quapaw. And it was an update that there will be, Sean is going to work with someone on the media department to put in the hold music on the telephone, which has been something in my craw, I guess you could say, for years. The little ditty that plays whenever you get put on hold. It will now be Quapaw music. So look forward to that. We also talked about the crowns for the princesses. And I guess probably there needs to be a conversation with Melanie Shawnee concerning that. We got some copies of what's being prepared now, and I talked with her, and apparently there's one silver crown being made to see if it's acceptable, you know, something, because it's a new person that's making it. And that will be given to the powwow princess. And then there's 2 beaded crowns, and it wasn't timely enough to have the seal put on them. So they have a French design, fleur-de-lis, I think they call them, that they're beading on 2 of them that will be given to the senior princess and junior princess for the tribe. And that's what I was informed. So I guess the business committee can get with her and make arrangements for future or past, you know, because the young ladies, the cultural committee had requested that the young ladies that were in office this year receive silver crowns, and I guess that hasn't happened, so, I don't know, that's up to you. The cultural committee had requested it, so, we can get together and talk about that later. We also talked about, we had a guest come and speak with us. Roman came and visited with us about the Constitution and some of the things that are in there that he wants to bring in culturally. And Josh Seiler is keeping us updated on the case at Downstream that's going to house the Quapaw clothing and things like that. It's in place and being prepared now, but it's not quite finished. So we'll keep you updated on that. Our next meeting, and again, those that would like to attend are welcome, will be June 18th at 1 p.m. at the museum classroom. Again, that's June 18th at 1 p.m. Any questions? All right. Those who knew my mother, who served on one of the first business committees and back in the 50s and worked for the tribe for many years. She had a file of Quapaw items. Sorry if I get a little sentimental. And over the years, I can remember seeing or getting into that file for her or with her. Several items. I have, like I told Everett the other day, I have a 1940 census roll that I'm going to bring and give back to the tribe. But recently, my grandkids helped me clean out my basement. And in the basement was this filing cabinet of hers. Of course, it's been moved from her house to our house and not bothered. The same items have been in it for years and years. And so I took it upon myself to take the time to go through it and look at the items that are in there. For years I saw a newspaper that was encapsulated in plastic. This is it. And as you can tell, it's very old. I never questioned what it was. It was in the file, in the back of the filing cabinet. You know, where air couldn't get it to it much. It was in this plastic. However, I've got it sealed now, but it wasn't sealed. And didn't really think about it, you know, as a kid or a young person growing up. You don't really think about things like that till you get old. And I had to smile a while ago. I don't think I've ever been called a seasoned elder, but you mentioned, you know, I guess that's a good way to put it. Be a seasoned person. But anyway, I went through her files. A lot of them, of course, dealt with the chat piles and IIM accounts and things like that. I did find, sadly, something that was mentioned the other day by the committee, my grandmother's incompetency papers. And it was amazing how the U.S. government had all this flowery, you know how government documents are. Government of the United States of America, blah, blah, blah. And on the first line it says, deems Anna Beaver incompetent to do business. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad that they thought that our people were incompetent and had documents stating so? In this day and age, I can't even fathom that, but in those documents, happily, more positively, was this document. And so looking at it, I thought, why does she have this old newspaper? And where did it come from? I wish I had asked her all those years ago when I first saw it, but I didn't. I don't know if it was something that Uncle Pickleball Whitebird gave her. I don't know if it's something my grandmother gave her. I don't really know where it came from. But this document, I'm going to read to you what it says. It is United States Gazette, Volume 27, I think it is, Philadelphia, Tuesday morning, August 9th, 1825. That's the date on it. And it's original state. It's 2 pages, like a newspaper. The columns, they just go, there's no heading, there's just little captions, but it's just columns of news on every page, just column after column, and it just goes from one topic to another. And I thought, why does she have this document? So I took it out very carefully and opened it up, and down at the bottom, in space and then up in the column, was an article that started out, and it says, this article is taken from the front page of the newspaper, bottom of the 5th row and top of the 6th row of the page. And it says, from the National Journal, the Quapaw Indians. And I thought, okay, that's why this paper's here. And this is what it reports. On Monday, June 20th, Governor Izard was visited at Little Rock, Arkansas, by Hecaton and Saracen, 2 of the principal chiefs of the Quapaw Nation, for the purpose of holding a talk with him, the principal object of which was to endeavor to effect a modification or suspension of the late treaty concluded by them, by which they ceded all their lands in the territory of Arkansas to the United States. By this treaty, the Quapaws are required to move before the 20th of January, 1826, to the country inhabited by the Caddo Indians and to form a part of that tribe. The talk was commenced by Hecaton in a speech of nearly an hour, of which the following is given in the Arkansas Gazette as a brief outline. He commenced with the usual assurance that his nation had always been friendly to the white people and wished to remain so, that they intended to have reserved a portion of their lands for their children, but had not the means of doing so. That is what was painful for them, to leave the land where the bones of their ancestors reposed, and that they would feel grateful to their great father for permission to remain a few years longer on the land of their fathers. That in their nation were frank and would do no harm, but that the nation to which they were going, the Caddos, might be otherwise, and his nation be censured for acts which they were innocent. That he had come to request that the execution of the treaty might be delayed for a few years, so far as it related to their removal. That they wished the governor to write to their great father Washington on the subject and communicate his answer to them. That if he could grant them no indulgence, they would submit to his decision. That he feared his people would suffer in their march through the woods. Why would they not suffer? It was January. That he wished to visit the Caddos before his nation should be compelled to remove, and that he wished an agent of the government to accompany him for the purpose of giving him protection against any injury which might be offered by white men. To which the governor replied in substance, that he was aware of their friendly disposition towards the whites, and that their hands were unstained with blood. They might rely with confidence on the promises made by their great father, and assured them of his protection in long as they should merit. Removal from a country where the bones of one's ancestors repose is always a painful measure, but in the present case it was a very necessary one, urged as much for their advantage as from a desire on the part of our government to possess their lands. We are a numerous and increasing people, and when our countrymen shall cross the great river in crowds, the safety of the Indians might be endangered. The treaty made last November had been ratified before the great council of our nation and must be carried into complete effect. Every facility would be afforded for their removal, and the comfort of the woman and the infirm among them should be attended to. He told them he would write to their great father agreeably to their request, but that he knew his answer would be that the terms of the treaty must be complied with. He promised them protection on their journey to the nation which they are to join, but assured them that no delay of their removal could be granted. The governor acceded to their request to be permitted to visit the Caddos previous to the removal of their people, and promised that a person should accompany them to protect them from harm while going and returning. The chief seemed satisfied with the governor's reply, and immediately after retired. What our ancestors endured was unacceptable. I think about what we might do in this day and time. Rebel. But so sad that they would not even consider leaving him there until summertime. But I'm going to donate this in my mother's name to the museum. I just have one request, that I would like for it to be placed in something that would be airproof, or, to keep it in its condition as it is, for display or for whatever reason. So on behalf of Roberta Kaiser, I donate this to the tribe. Thank you.
Barbara, thank you to both you and your family. I find it remarkable that a 200-year-old newspaper clipping has been preserved so beautifully so that others can read it and understand. Is that agreeable to make sure it's appropriately and airtight, whatever the museum quality standards are?
Well protected.
Thank you. Let's see, Constitution Committee, Roman Cahiga.
Good morning. Much of my report was already given, so thank you for that,
Oops.
Chairwoman. In addition to that, the Cultural Committee report, we did meet with them yesterday. There were a few items that we included in the Constitution that we would like some feedback on directly from them that would go to General Counsel to help facilitate that any questions that General Counsel may have. And similarly, last month, the Business Committee asked if there's anything that you could do to assist. And similarly, I'll send this in a formal request email this week. We'd also like the Business Committee's endorsement, if you will, of the Constitution or opinion of certain aspects in the Constitution, because in our opinion, the Constitution Committee's opinion, a well-informed body is going to, be a lot better and make a healthier decision in regard to the Constitution. And if they're going to ask, we want to be prepared in case they ask questions. So what does the Business Committee think about this? What's the transition going to look like? What are other committees thinking about this? And we will be reaching out to other committees and directors similarly. Other than that, the mailed copy should be in people's mailboxes. I'm assuming sometime next week. I don't know how fast that happens, but from there, we're open for communication. If anybody's got any questions or has any thoughts or opinions, if there is something that you see in the Constitution that you would want General Counsel to know ahead of time, we would be happy to include that. We're not going to alter anything. We're not changing our document any further. We would like to just provide General Counsel with a complete packet of here's what other people think. Please, decide, to your heart's content. Yeah, and that's it. We did make a last-second change yesterday after meeting with the Constitution. I just want to give a little plug to the language department. And if folks hasn't seen or utilized the language department's online tool that they're creating, it was fascinating. I didn't know that it existed, but it was pointed out to me, so we took advantage of that and made a few last-second changes that were pointed out to us yesterday. But that's all I got.
Just a couple questions. Roman, did those changes get communicated over to Agapa Communications since they're helping support the print and mailing?
Yes, they helped facilitate that.
Great. And then did you made reference to an email box? Has that been established for people to field their questions or?
Yes, so it's still the same. If you want to send it directly to me, that's fine. Constitution.committee.chair@quapawnation.com. Or if you want to send it to the Constitution Committee in whole, that email is constitutioncommittee@quapawnation.com. And that goes to everybody. So
Thank you.
absolutely.
Hey, Uncle Roman, I got something for you.
Yes.
So it's the whole Constitution Committee requesting opinions on the Constitution from the Business Committee, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you or anybody else on the committee see any conflict of interest with that? Being the ones who are sitting in the elected offices, commenting on the document that's going to be the way things go.
If I understand you correct, you're asking if I believe it's a conflict of interest for the business committee to provide an opinion on the document?
Yeah.
Good question. No, we don't believe that because the document is in its form now, and the business committee has the experience right now of how things operate and function. And what's being proposed in the document is we would like to identify is like, hey, is this going to be feasible? If not, what are some things that we need to be cognizant of as we are turning this corner? And that's where the business committee's experience is going to be vital.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I was just going to ask one more question about those cultural items that you were speaking to about
Yes.
adding in. Do you have like a brief overlay?
Yeah. So throughout the document, we've said from the beginning, the Constitution Committee has been trying to figure out what are things that we could include that are inclusive of who we are away from the Western world and away from the government that we've been nudged into and operating and what we've become today. And how can we include some of the things that are really us, wholly us, into this document? And at every corner that we were taking, where things would come up, it's like, is this an opportunity to insert ceremony? Is this an opportunity to insert something to make this Quapaw, right? And we kept coming up against, for numerous reasons, we kept coming up against the current climate, the current knowledge, the current acceptance of what our body's made up of. We're not just Quapaw. We're different races. We're different ethnicities. We're different tribes. We're different nations, right? And how do we include this? And largely, we would come back to is like, hey, we just don't. It's not right for us to be making these insertions in some certain ways. So one of the things that we decided that was pretty simple was currently our tie-breaking opportunity for any election is a coin toss. And we thought that it would be a good nod for us. And I don't know if maybe the election committee knows, I don't believe that there's ever been a tie to go to a coin toss. So a decision-making, a tie-breaking, I'm sorry? Yeah. And has that been utilized before to your knowledge? Okay.
We've not ever had a tie.
And this was where one of those areas where we thought there's not a lot of harm in inserting something here because of that. And it's also a nod to who we are, and putting it in our document now enshrines that later generations can look back at this and say, it's like, look, they thought it was important enough to start putting these things in the document. And maybe that builds, there's something that people could build on that. But what we're suggesting is that the candidates that tie have an opportunity to break that tie with a game of dice, with a foot race, with a game of football. You know, things they could request a hand game, right? So that these are things that are ours that we do today that they could do, and it was just a good nod to who we are, and it gave us an opportunity to put something in there like that.
Okay. Well, I sure appreciate it. I just wanted to be sure to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Election Committee, Frank Frazier.
Good morning, everybody. As you know, we're getting ready to start on our election time. Right now, Monday will be the last day for a potential candidate to come in and file for office. So Monday at closing time is the last time you can come in and file. Also, since our last meeting, I'm sure everybody has received in the mail our first mailing, making everybody aware of that. And inside that is a form where you can go ahead and fill it out, mail it in, or bring it by the office to request an absentee ballot. Every year we have people say, I didn't get my absentee ballot because, you know, you can turn this form in ahead of time. Carrie's already got a stack of them in there in a folder just waiting until after. We have to wait until after the candidates have been certified, we know who's running for office, then we'll have the ballots printed, then we prepare the absentee packets to mail out. But if you've got this already filled out, that stops a lot of delay and waiting until you know who's running and then think, oh, I'm going to do an absentee ballot. You can get ahead of the game that way. So you can request that right now. Use that, or you can come by the office and fill out a form. They have them there. And if you pick up your absentee ballot packet, you can take and fill them out right then. We'll have a ballot box in there in the middle in the hallway. It's under cameras. You know, we're all on security about the elections. You can go ahead and vote ahead of time. The list of candidates will be posted on May the 21st. Basically, this is a time we already have a few new people registered to vote. I signed off on that. So if you know somebody who is 18 and above who has not registered to vote, encourage them. If they want to have a voice in what goes on in the tribe instead of sitting around bitching and griping about stuff, how everything's going, they got their option. This is our voice. So we need to be aware of that. Everybody needs to be aware. If you want to vote, come in, vote, fill out your forms. Hopefully, we're going to have a good election. We're developing a list of potential candidates right now that have filed, and I wish good luck to everybody. And we just look forward to making everything go smooth. That's all I've got.
That's great. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
Powwow Committee Chair, Tony Shawnee.
Thank you. I have a new powwow committee this year, as always, but this year's a little different because JR's been the head singer lately for I think 3 years in a row, and he did a great job. But this year I got another head singer. He's a Ponca member, and his name's Will Kimball, and he's a up and coming head singer. I'm looking forward to him being a part of our powwow this year and singing songs with the people and stuff. And then the head staff is also some young young dancers that I try to get them back out to dance, because I know they used to dance, but they've kind of gone, I guess, just letting their kids dance now. But I asked them to be a part of it this year, just trying to get them back out there, get them involved, keep them involved instead of sitting back. And then I was listening to the powwow grounds, you know, what's going on there, and it all sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. What do you call it? The fireworks and stuff like that. And then just trying to keep it as old style as we could. What we're, I guess, the older generation's accustomed to. I think I said this last year. You know, just trying to bring back some dances that. Not necessarily been lost, but just been left out just because it's gone so commercialized to contests and stuff like that. Just trying to keep it, you know, fun for the family and everything. Friday, or last year's first night, Friday night, I believe it was, not first night, but Friday night. I don't know if you guys remember, because I remember looking up on the hill, as I call it, and I hadn't seen it packed like that in a long time. So hopefully we can keep, you know, all 3 nights, you know, just that same way, because that's the way I remember it. So I just hope it can be that way again, you know, as a lot of us remember it. So that's all I have, though. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate that. Any other subcommittees? Okay, we're going to go on to the executive director reports. So the executive director reports, those were already posted up on the tribal website earlier this week. And if anybody present here has questions regarding those reports, you can pose those during open forum. Eric Boone, CFO, do you have anything to report beyond what you've already submitted?
I have nothing to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Trent Stand, Executive Director, Resource Management, do you have anything else to report?
I have nothing to add outside my report.
Thank you. Jerry Helms, Executive Director, Quapaw Facilities Authority, you satisfied with your report, Jerry?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Steve Stand, Executive Director, Tribal Member Services, anything else to report from your team?
I have nothing further to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mike Mullen, representing Department of Public Safety, is there anything else to report this month?
Nothing further to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Everett Bandy, Executive Director, Culture, anything else to report? I'll slow down, Johnny Rogers.
I have nothing beyond my online report, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know Barry Lindeff had a prior engagement today, so Austin Headley will provide any updates required. But anything else to report from O-Guah-Pah Communications and Events, Austin?
Nothing to add, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, so we're moving on. We'll go on to reading correction and approval of the electronic polls. Member Mercer, would you please take the first one?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is poll number 42581, Ottawa County Road District temporary easement. This was the temporary easement which will allow District 1 permission to resurface road, rebuild shoulders, authorize removal of trees and vegetation to increase safety. It was sent to a poll because they needed authorization by April 21st. Approval was 7-4. And it was certified on 4/21/2025 at 9:45 a.m.
Thank you. Member Buffalo, would you please take the following one?
Madam Chair. Poll number 42582, approval of permit for access, requested by Stacia Forpas. This access permit will allow Ottawa County District 1 permission to resurface the road, rebuild the shoulder, and authorize the removal of trees and vegetation to increase safety on this road corridor. Chair Supanow approved this for a poll because they need this by April 21st. This is not in the poll, but it's in reference to the bypass road from the daycare to 69. Reason they request is because the tribe owns that property. It was approved 7-0 and certified 4/21/25.
Thank you. Vice Chair McKibben, would you please take the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Poll 42591, this is a right-of-way for the Ray Housing or O-gah-pah development. This is a right-of-way for electric co-op to come across the Feeland where the new housing development is located. This fiber optic line will be used to provide service to housing. Chair Weena Supanaw approved this for poll to expedite the process of getting this completed. This was approved 7-0 and certified on 4/21/25 at 9:52 a.m.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and take the next one. It's poll number 42639. It's approval for Saracen Development LLC agreements related to Phase 1A construction projects. Poll is to authorize Chair Weena Supanaw or Matt Hartness, General Manager of Saracen, the authority to negotiate, execute, and deliver in the name and on behalf of the nation. The authority is to enter into agreements related to additional Phase 1A construction projects. This was sent to a poll to expedite Phase 1A construction projects. The vote was 6 approve, 1 abstain. The poll was approved, certified on April the 30th. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take the next one?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Poll number 42647, Quapaw Nation Legal Services Renewal. This resolution was sent to a poll renewing the contract of Drummond Woodsum and Reservation Legal Solutions as outside counsel for the Quapaw Nation. This was sent to a poll because of the renewal date of May 1st. The approval count was 6, 1 abstention, so the poll was approved. Certified date of April 30th, 2025.
Member Davis, would you please take the next one?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Poll number 42649. This poll is for approving the downstream casino sale of goods and services contract. This contract is for new video management software and updating the surveillance system, which includes storage servers and other digital recording equipment. This is paramount because the current system is very close to the end of its life and will no longer be supported. This was sent to a poll because of the dates on the contract. It had an approval count of 6, 1 abstention. It was approved, and it was certified on April 30th, 2025.
Thank you. Member Gibbswater, would you please take the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Poll number 42663, purchase resolution elder housing generators. This poll is for the purchase of 20 generators for elder housing, which will prevent undue hardship and mitigate the response needed by public safety. This was sent to a poll so that we can take advantage of the bulk discount on the purchase and ensure timely project completion. There's an approval count of 7, certified 5/5/2025.
Thank you. Member Mercer, would you please take the next one?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is poll number 43136. It's execution of the Saracen agreement. This was sent to a poll due to the lead time required to order furniture and fixtures for the space build-out. The approval count was 5-4, 1 reject, 1 abstention. It was certified on 5/9/2025.
Thank you. Member Buffalo, would you please take the last electronic poll?
Madam Chair. Poll number 43244, Quapaw Nation Gaming Commissioner appointment. This poll is approving a resolution to appoint Jackie Dixon as the Vice Chair of the Quapaw Nation Gaming Agency. This is sent to a poll to meet the gaming ordinance requirements to filling vacancies. The vote was 7-0, approved, certified on 5/8/2025 at 11:41 a.m.
Business Committee, is there a motion to approve the electronic polls as submitted?
Second.
Business Committee, is there any additional discussion on any of these electronic polls? Hearing none, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor of approving the electronic polls, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion carries and the electronic polls are approved. We're heading on to new business. Vice Chair McKibben, would you please take 051725-A?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 051725A is a resolution appointing Mick Wilson and Josh Seiler as the Quapaw Nation representatives to the Oklahoma Indian Gaming Association. Excuse me. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee wishes to appoint Mick Wilson as the primary delegate and reappoint Josh Seiler as the alternate delegate to the Oklahoma Indian Gaming Commission. Now therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee approves the appointments of Mick Wilson and Josh Seiler to the Oklahoma Indian Gaming Association. Effective date of this resolution is approved and signed. Make a motion to adopt Resolution 051725A.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any discussion on resolution or the 051725-A? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving resolution 051725-A, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion carries, and resolution 051725-A is approved. I'll go ahead and take the next one. It is resolution 051725-B. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Fire EMS Department is requesting a new Ford F-450 ambulance. This is a replacement for a high-mileage unit, and the last new unit we will purchase before we begin doing the chassis swaps, which will be a refurbish of the Braun box on the next ambulance purchases, which will result in cheaper subsequent purchase. Having conducted due diligence in accordance with current policy and ensuring sufficient unencumbered funds exist, and therefore be it resolved that the purchase of a Ford F-450 ambulance is approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. I move to approve Resolution 051725-B.
Second.
Business Committee, is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 051725-B, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries, and Resolution 051725-B is approved. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take the next resolution?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 051725-C. A resolution authorizing the Quapaw Nation Chair to sign and facilitate the services agreement for the language services. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee wishes to approve the services agreement for language services, and whereas the said agreement shall be effective on the dates hereof and shall continue unless terminated earlier for 3 years, renewable each year thereafter until such time the Quapaw Nation terminates the agreement. Cancellation is at the sole discretion of the Quapaw Nation. Therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby approves Chair Weena Supernaut to sign and facilitate the services agreement for language services. Madam Chair, I move that we approve Resolution 051725-C.
Second. There's a motion to approve Resolution 051725-C. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 051725-C, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion carries, and Resolution 051725-C is approved. Member Davis, would you please take D?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 051725-D, a resolution to amend the Indian Housing Plan for FY25 regarding Indian Housing Block Grant number 55IT4024740. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee is the managing entity for the HUD-Nahasda Indian Housing Block Grant, and whereas the Nahasda regulations state that the Quapaw Nation is to annually submit an Indian Housing Plan and performance objectives relating to the goals and objectives of the 5-year Indian Housing Plan, and whereas the Quapaw Nation has amended the FY 2025 Indian Housing Plan for the activity of tenant-based rental assistance to cover the members of a federally recognized tribe to assist with their monthly rent payment with the Quapaw Nation's family rental homes, and now therefore be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby approves the amended FY 2025 Indian Housing Plan to be submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Southern Plains Office of Native American Programs. Madam Chair, I make a motion to postpone resolution number 051725-D to the June 21st BC meeting due to clarification of the plan of tenant-based rental assistance.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion to postpone this particular resolution until next month's Business Committee meeting. Business Committee, is there any further discussion or debate on this? All those in favor of postponing consideration of resolution 051725-D until next month's meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries, and resolution 051725-D is postponed until June, the June scheduled meeting. Member Gibbs Water, would you please take E?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 051725-E, a resolution to approve a programmatic agreement among the USDA Forest Service, Washita National Forest, Mena Odin Ranger District, Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, Arkansas Historic Preservation Program, Caddo Nation, the Osage Nation, and the Quapaw Nation regarding the trails at Mena project. Whereas this PA is proposed to phase and defer Section 106 for the multi-year undertaking under 36 CFR 800.4, parentheses B2, with emphasis on early consultation. And whereas Quapaw Nation Business Committee desires to approve such agreement effective immediately upon its execution by the last party to sign in the interest of protecting the nation's valuable and irreplaceable cultural and historical information and resources. And therefore, be it finally resolved that the programmatic agreement among the USDA Forest Service, Washita National Forest, Mena Odin Ranger District, Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, Arkansas Historic Preservation Program, Caddo Nation, the Osage Nation, and the Quapaw Nation regarding the trails at Mena project is hereby approved, and further that the chair is hereby authorized to execute and deliver such agreement on behalf of the nation. Madam Chair, I so move to approve resolution number 051725-E.
Second. We have a motion to approve resolution 051725-E. Business Committee, is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor of approving resolution 051725-E, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is approved. Resolution 051725-E is approved. We'll go on to the very last one in new business. Member Mercer, would you please take F?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 051725F. It is a resolution to authorize Chair Weena Supernaw to sign the termination, settlement, and release agreement. Whereas the parties, following discussion and to resolve certain open issues as between them, have concluded it is in their mutual best interest to terminate the MSA in accordance with and subject to the terms of this agreement. Now therefore be it resolved in consideration of mutual covenants set forth herein and the MSA, and for other goods and valuable consideration, the receipt and sufficiency of which are hereby acknowledged and agreed, the undersigned agree. Now therefore be it further resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby agrees to this agreement and authorizes Chair Weena Supernaw to sign the termination, settlement, and release agreement. Madam Chair, I so move that we adopt resolution number 051725F.
Second.
Got a motion to approve resolution 051725-F. Business Committee, is there any discussion? The only thing I wanted to point out is this is the Cypress Valley Management Agreement over at the processing plant. Anything else, BC?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving resolution 051725-F, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Resolution 051725-F is approved. That concludes new business, and we are now going to go on to donations. The very first one is Wyandotte Bears Youth Football, and Jen McLeod should be on Zoom. Is there a way to unmute that line? Pardon me, unless the name is...
Unmute, see if that's them.
Yeah, let's go ahead and try unmuting the iPhone and see if that is Ms. Jen McLeod. Okay. If the iPhone on Zoom is Jen McLeod, please unmute your line. Ms. McLeod? All right. Please mute that line, Austin. And we'll go on to the next one, which is the American Veterans Motorcycle Club. Blaise Fagan. Good morning.
This donation request is for our yearly event we hold to fund us throughout the year to donate to local VFWs, American Legions, and we buy those little flags. So.
And this is your fundraiser, right, Blaise? Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure.
I make a motion to approve the request of 50 pounds of hamburger patties.
Yes.
Second.
All righty, we've got a motion to approve the donation of 50 pounds of hamburger patties. Business Committee, any further discussion? All righty, all those in favor of approving the donation of 50 pounds of hamburger patties, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries and the donation is approved. Thank you. All right, next up is Riverton High Summer, I think it says baseball. Thank you. Mr. Weaver? Thank you.
First of all, thank you guys for letting me stand here today. The cool part about our program is the entire coaching staff is Quapaw tribal members. All three people are a Quapaw tribal member. We do contain 6 Native Americans on our team. 3 are also Quapaw. What we are asking for is a little financial support for what happens in the summer. As you all know, during the school year, most of the time schools take care of things. And once summer hits, that's on the kids. And we have a lot of, the educational term is low SES. That means we come from a very poor area. And that funding falls on the children. We all know the kids who participate in activities, they do better in school, they do better when they get in the workforce. And as a coach of 31 years, we've got to keep kids involved in activities where they fail. Failure is what makes you good at life. And if kids can't afford or do not participate in things where they learn to deal with failure, we're doing them a disservice. So our goal is to make it as affordable as possible. There's no way I'm going to be able to make it free, but we're asking for a donation to help fund some of those guys and gals that can't afford that in the summer. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to donate $500 to the Riverton High School Summer Baseball.
Second.
We've got a motion to approve a $500 donation to Riverton High School Summer Baseball. Business Committee, are there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the $500 donation to Riverton High Summer Baseball, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries and the $500 donation is approved. All right. we've got Dance Makers Nationals, Mia and Emma. Good morning, welcome.
Hello, my name is Emma Claire McCormick. I am very proud to be Quapaw, Seneca Cayuga, and Chippewa. I am the daughter of Jana McCormick, granddaughter of Fran Wood, great-granddaughter of Olin and Clara Goki, great-great-granddaughter of Francis Quapaw, and great-great-great-granddaughter of Chief John Quapaw and Redson Quapaw. I've been dancing since I was 3 years old, and now I am a competitive dancer who hopes to someday dance on Broadway, and I've won 2 national titles.
Hello, my name is Mia Forbes. I am the daughter of Stacia Forbes, granddaughter of Virginia and Daryl Mouse, great-granddaughter of Martha Griffin, great-great-granddaughter of Hayes and Becky Griffin, great-great-great-granddaughter of Chief Victor Griffin, Minnie Track Griffin. I have been dancing since I was 2 years old. I have also been privileged to be the junior tribal princess. I hope someday to be a primary care physician. I've won numerous awards.
Before they tell you this next part, I want you to know that these ladies spend at least 5 days a week in studio practicing. They give up their Saturday mornings. They leave right after school and go to dance. So this is not something that they do for, well, they enjoy it though. It's not something that they do haphazardly or something that they're not committed to. They spend at least 5 days in the studio practicing and preparing. They both have won and been offered national awards. Mia was supposed to go to DC a couple of years ago. It just wasn't, we just weren't able to make it happen. And so before they ask you for the rest, I just wanted you to know that this is not something that they take lightly. And those of you that are friends with Jana, Stacia, and I on Facebook, you see their photos, you see some of their performances. So I just want you to know that this is something that they take very seriously and something that they love. All right, ladies.
We are here to ask the tribe for a 500 each, total of 1,000 sponsorships for our dance troupe.
We are truly from the bottom of our hearts appreciative for whatever help we can get in the making of our dance dreams a reality.
Let me add to that. They've been offered to go to compete at nationals in Myrtle Beach this summer, and that's what this donation can help. They did a fundraiser yesterday. At the farmers market, and they raised a little bit of money. But this is for national competition at their age level in Myrtle Beach this summer. So they are asking for $500 apiece. Okay. I just want to make sure that everything's clear on the questions and answers.
No, thank you. You've both done such a remarkable job of presenting yourself this morning, and we're real proud of what it is that you've accomplished. So thank you for being here this morning.
Madam Chair, I so move that we donate 500 apiece to go to nationals, and I want to commend the young ladies. My granddaughter in Omaha is in dance, and I know the dedication it requires if you're going to accomplish what they have accomplished so far. Thank you.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion to approve 2 $500 donations to sponsor their trip to Myrtle Beach and Dance Maker Nationals. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the donations of $500 each, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. All righty, the motion carries. Yay.
I just wanted to note, please, that I recuse myself as these are family members, and just have that. And I want to say that it was a joy working with you girls yesterday at the fundraiser, and I also enjoyed the recital last Sunday, and it is evident of the time and efforts that these young ladies put in. So God bless both of you, and keep on dancing.
Wonderful.
That's all right.
Remarkable young ladies, thank you. Brent, I want to make sure that you got that vote recorded properly. Okay, nodding in the affirmative, thank you. Let's move on to open forum. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my handwritten notes. Denver March, my apologies. Minnie Francis.
I'm not my mom. They took her to the emergency room last night, so she's not able to do this. So just bear with me if you could.
Sorry to hear that, Catherine.
Oh, thank you, thank you. This is for the new reigning Denver March princess. I don't know if you guys know her, Mashe. She is family. Instead of going anywhere else, she decided to come and we decided to do an honor thing for her here. Different Quapaw tribal members have been asked for head staff. My mom is asked to be a cook for that. So that's what they're asking. She's for 25-26. It's a national hill title. She'll be traveling everywhere. She always mentions us, our people, whenever she goes to anywhere. She always mentions us that, she has danced here since she was little. So she always recognizes that Quapaw heritage when she does dance as well as all her other ones. And we're asking for a $500 donation, which some of you know how the cost of the meal for that. So that's what we're asking for today.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I need to recuse myself from this one because Mashe is my cousin, but I want to thank you guys for doing this for her and recognizing her, because I see her out there all the time and she works really hard, and I know that she represents all of her tribal affiliations very well. And I'm very proud of this young lady, but I will have to recuse myself on this one.
Thank you.
The same here, not only for the same reason, but along with the requesters as well. So I'll recuse myself as well.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the $500 donation. Of the remaining 5. DC, any additional discussion? All right, let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion carries and the $500 donation is approved.
Oh, thank you, thank you. We're so honored that you guys have that. And on another note, when you guys was speaking earlier on that MMIP thing, I was humbled and honored that Quapaw Nation now has that O-gah-pah chapter that is in Oklahoma and national officially in that coalition. It's been hard work. Just before that, my cousin went missing, and it took a lot of time. And it was really scary to have to go look for her, but I want to thank you guys for that honor of letting us and backing us to do that.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to get to open forum. So we did have a form submitted, but that information. So in order to speak, individual must have submitted the form or must pertain to topics on today's agenda. There is a 5-minute time limit, 1 trip to the podium. Please be respectful and please use the microphone. We have already covered the one submitted form this month. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on a topic from today's agenda in the room?
I'm not sure who to direct my question to, perhaps one of the executive directors, but Memorial Day is coming up soon. We used to call it Decoration Day. But my question is, will the cemeteries be available to us? I have family at the Catholic cemetery. In the past years, it's been locked. So I just wanted to follow up on that. Will the cemeteries be available to us? And then, of course, powwow coming up, family will be coming in. The other question that I had, I wasn't sure to direct to, at a recent fair, we had flag etiquette. When I drove in the parking lot this morning, the flag was kind of messed up on the top. There's, for veterans and all, there's a way to treat our flag. So whoever needs that information, if they would follow through on that. My last comment would be, there was been a lot of discussion on the bear case. I got involved years ago knowing that my grandfather, Francis, was the one who realized that we were still having continuing problems with the United States government. And they went to court at that time. And it was only recently when I got involved and when the discussion came up about some of the families filing a suit against the United States government, I thought that yes, Grandpa Francis would want me to continue the fight. So I did, so I became involved. So just to comment, if it hadn't been for some of the Quapaw families bringing the suit, we wouldn't be having any discussion about monies coming to us for the things that have happened to us. So that was just my comment. Gonna get.
Thank you for that comment, Grace, and you're absolutely right. Is anybody able to address the Catholic cemetery, or is that a follow-up item?
It's kind of a real easy thing. We can just get with Jerry during our next one-on-one and ensure that the grounds guys, the ones who takes care of the cemeteries, can have them open. Yeah, and they're always, for as long as I've been working here, we've always had them cleaned up and open for anybody and everybody to access all the cemeteries that the tribe took care of and maintained. But I will look into it and ensure that it is open that day for you, and go out there, Grace, and make sure it's open. So I just want to say that much.
We've got, is that Henry Ellick?
Yes, I just have a question about an ongoing thing. It was a Robinson report was made on Arkansas removal of the Quapaws, and when were being moved, and during that report it said there were 200,000 acres that were missurveyed. Does anybody ever follow? I know we have brought it up before, but is that still in existence? That was that way. The Arkansas, the Robinson report was in the vaults back here when I was business manager, so still going, I guess. I just like to know, follow up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. We absolutely will. Catherine?
I think this is probably toward the cultural committee on a comment that was made earlier about the beaded crowns that they were making. I'm not comfortable with other tribes' designs put on our tribal crowns when we have designs on our pottery that were made from our people back then that can be used. We shouldn't have to resort to using another tribe's designs for our crowns. And those should have been made before then. I don't know who's making them or what that decision is, but I don't feel comfortable with that because those crowns could be worn at national gatherings by our tribal princesses and somebody say something to them. I would ask that you guys approach the cultural committee about using Quapaw designs. There's designs on our pottery that can be used by our people.
Thank you, Catherine. Oh, Virginia. Oh, I'm so sorry. Bonnie, did you have your hand up first? My apologies. Okay, Virginia.
It was my understanding that the design on the crowns was French.
I thought she said fleur-de-lis.
Which would be
like on the French flag.
Right? Which kind of seems appropriate if you're not going to use native. That's just my thought.
Hi, Bonnie.
Okay, I had a question on the generators that were put in place at the elder housing. How many more generators were placed out there?
So this was a bulk purchase of 20 generators to ensure that each elder housing unit in the complex has that backup generator.
Okay, at this point, I don't have one.
Yes, we ordered 20, so they haven't been installed yet, Bonnie.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This was the authorization to get that order placed.
Thank you.
Were there other hands up?
Brenda.
Oh, yeah, Brenda.
Concerning the generators, is there any chance that you could get, if we could get a list of other elders that may need generators and let them purchase them? If we could get your bulk price?
What we did was we purchased generators based on the value that we had placed in the fiscal year 2025 budget, and that's what we were focused on. I think what you're saying is you're making a request to put in the subsequent year budget dollars for generators for other elders, not necessarily those that live in Quapaw housing.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. We haven't even started this. At the end of this month, we'll start kind of bringing the budget together for fiscal year 2026.
Put that in next year.
Yes.
Thank you.
See what we can do.
Another thing I've got a question about. On the website, the Cobell are having a settlement with the IAM accounts. I might did say that wrong.
No.
Does that interfere with our bear settlement?
No. So if my reading of the notification was accurate, these are folks that were a part of the Cobell settlement. However, they've been unable to find them. These are unclaimed monies, and those monies are already allocated to specific individuals. So that has no intersection with bear.
Okay.
Cobell was settled years ago.
So is there anybody in our tribe that could apply for that Cobell?
Well, there's a process that has to be followed through and paperwork to determine if you or a family member may have an IIM account that was eligible for Cobell but never claimed.
Do they have to be a member, signed on the last time?
There's a list of claimants. There's a list of individuals, and if you are part of that, a family member of that individual, you need to reach out to them, but they're not taking new claimants. There is already a list of claimants that they cannot locate, and that's what that is about. I think there's like 17,000 people. I think, I can't remember.
17,000?
I think either 17,000 or 7,000. So there's several thousands of unclaimed claims. So if you're able to go on there to look to see if there was someone on there, then you need to reach out to the contact information that is listed.
Yeah, we just put the flyer out there to make sure that the information was available to those that it may impact.
Okay.
Sorry, Weena, I didn't mean to
Blaze?
Oh, no, I was helpful.
I'm going to make an announcement Thursday, May 22nd, about 5:30 p.m. We're going to meet at the Quapaw Cemetery and put those 7 flags out there, and then go to Peoria Cemetery and place flags there if anybody else would like to come and help.
And Blaze, you said that was May 22nd at about 5:30 at the Quapaw Cemetery to place the flags. Is that right? Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else? Vice Chair McKibben, would you please close us out in prayer?
Yes, ma'am. Creator, Father God, Savior Jesus, thank you for this beautiful day, and thank you for the privilege of being able to come down here and meet and conduct business for our folks. Thank you for this place we have down here that we do so many things on. A beautiful place, and it picks you right up when you come down here, and you get a good feeling when you go down there and pray. Just thank you for letting us have this place to come down here and be able to do that. Thank you for our folks that came here today and could make it out to the meeting. Be with all our folks that couldn't make it here, Creator Father God, and watch over them. These folks that Linda mentioned earlier are mourners that are brokenhearted right now and having a hard time getting through things. Just please send them that spirit and give them a little peace and some comfort and a smile today and help them move on and be able to move forward. These folks that are suffering with illness right now, we got some folks going through some hard times and some bad things. Please send them that spirit too, Creator Father God, that they can get through those times, and whatever your will is, we know that's what's going to happen. And it doesn't make things easier, but we know it's all in your hands, and we put it there, and we leave it with you, and we know you've got us all taken care of in your time. Thank you again for everything good in this beautiful day, and give us folks home here safe travel mercies on their way home, get their home places, and find them in good order when they get there. Amen.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
All righty, the ayes have it. We are adjourned.